Hello everybody, it's Aaron. Welcome to another episode of SolitaryCraft. We've got some new toys to play with today. We're going to get to that in just a minute. First, in the last episode I was talking about the Buildcraft gates, and I don't know what I was thinking when I was talking about turning energy cells on and off, since it's just a redstone signal. Obviously it still works. You could see the gate is set to work to do, and once it has something to do, it gives a redstone signal to the energy cells, which turn on, the thing makes, and then they turn off, so they don't constantly bleed energy. I do have a problem interfacing with the gates when I'm morphed, and for a second I was thinking, well, why isn't this working? But as you can see, it works just fine. So we have a problem, and this is where the new toys come into play. Let me fly up to the boiler. I don't know what happened. I don't know if there was a config change or something, but we're no longer maintaining or gaining planks. So what I'm going to do, I've made a redstone furnace and I'm cooking up some graphite bars right now. But what I will do is when this thing runs out, I'm going to just replace the sawmill with a redstone furnace and cook all of the tree farm logs into charcoal. And I've already got this thing set to send charcoal to the boiler when there's room for it. It may or may not be an issue though, because today we're going to make a big reactor. And I've already made all the crafting recipes in Applied Energistics, so we can auto craft the things. And I had to use my other furnace to cook up graphite. You just cook coal, you get a graphite bar. Basically, there's stuff in the world, this ore, yellowite ore. You can either cook it straight into ingots, or you can pulverize it into 2 dust and then cook that into the ingots. And this is actually interchangeable with industrial craft uranium ingots. So if you've already got a bunch of uranium, you can use it. Let's go look at the patterns, if I can remember where the hell my molecular assembler chamber is. Here we are. We have to make all of these things, and the reactor casing is the base block for a lot of these things. And it's not cheap. It takes a ton of iron, but at the present time, I don't believe the reactors explode. So that is not going to be, it's not going to be a big deal to, we don't have to worry about it. All we have to do is make sure we fill the thing with water. So let's go ahead and build the thing. I don't know how many I'm going to need. I'm just going to make a stack of everything. And I'll probably have to come back and do more. But we'll just kind of go through what we need to put this thing together. We're going to need a few of these. And I should just look at craftable. That would be easier. Well, I thought it would be easier. Okay, here we go. We'll need a couple of redstone ports. We're going to need 1 power tap. We're going to need 1 controller, 1 control rod, and 2 access ports. So hopefully I can find all these things in here. Hopefully that's everything. Where we're going to put this thing, oh, by the way, our fuel is doing pretty well. If we look in here, we've only got a little under 4,000 buckets of oil, and we've got about 8,600 buckets of fuel. Like I said, I still don't know what we're going to do with it, but we have it if we want it. And the space it's taking up on the disk, you can see we've used probably a little over half of the disk for that 8,600-ish buckets. And that's the biggest disk, so we'll just put this for now up here. Let me get rid of these torches. I set one of these up last night in a little test world with 6 of the control rods, and actually I needed more of those, but I'll make those in a minute. So you have to make the frame of this out of reactor casings, and I believe this can be any cuboid structure. So the way it goes, let me make 3 more fuel rods and 1 more fuel control thing, so we don't have to go back in there. So we're going to make this 5x7, but we could expand it and make it 7x7, which we'll probably do in the future. And basically you just leave a space on each side of this. You put your fuel rods like this, and then your control rods go on top of them. I haven't tried to make this with something floating in it like a torch or something. I'm not sure what happens if you try to form the tank in that situation. You know, railcraft tanks won't form. So this is basically how it goes. The rest of it is filled in with glass, and then you put your controller, your power tap, stuff like that. From my testing, they have to go on the side. They cannot go on the top or bottom, unfortunately, but that's not a huge issue. So we'll fill the rest of this in with glass. And I'll do the top last. There probably could have been a better place to put this, but really not that big of a deal. Let's leave this one blank, and let's leave this one blank. We're gonna put the redstone ports right there. And I probably will only have to make a little more glass. Before we do that, let's figure out, we're going to need to put the controller somewhere. We'll just put it in the middle right here. The power tap, let's put right here, so we can easily connect it to... Actually, let's put it up top so we can run our conduit up and connect it to that if we want. And what else do we need to put on there? These guys, we'll just put them next to each other. So you can put this stuff in any configuration on the side that you want. On any side. And let's see how much more glass I have to make. Actually, before we do that, we have to fill this thing with water. And I think I still have that endless water bucket. I don't know if it's in my ME system or not. It's probably in a chest over here somewhere. I brought back a bunch of stuff from Mistcraft Ages. Maybe I don't have that thing anymore. No big deal. We'll just get regular water buckets. All right, so these don't all have to be source blocks. Ooh, I forgot to do this yesterday too. We have to put glass on the bottom of it. I expanded it. I was like, all right, what the hell happened? It won't make. And then I look. If you click on the controller, I think that's what told me. And it looks like either these disappeared. They did disappear. I don't know if that's a glitch or what. No, I still have them. Okay. All right, that's better. So we'll just make a little, an infinite pool at the bottom. And then we just fill in all the blocks with water. One below the top, obviously, because if you put a water block here, then put your glass, it's going to delete the source block. All right, hopefully that'll do it. We'll see how much more glass we have to make. Probably only a couple. I'll just go ahead and make 10 because, like I said, I'm going to make another one of these in a better location. I just need to do something to circumvent the loss of all of those planks. All right, when we place that last block, you now see the corner is a different pattern, and the sides, I guess the beams, if you want to call them that, they look a little different. Now, if we look at the controller, we've got a thing for what the fuel rods are doing, what the heat is, and this thing actually does have an energy buffer. As you can see, it makes RF, which is nice because you can switch it to MJ, but you cannot convert MJ to RF. So this thing actually runs on those yellorium ingots. And if we come up here, actually I better just start the thing up first, and then we'll then we'll cover that. We'll get a few stacks of that. And I don't need this anymore. So your access ports, one is in, one is out. That's why you have to make two of them. But you can actually, I'm not sure if you can, I'm not sure if you can pipe into the same one, but if you're using Buildcraft pipes, maybe you can. Item ducts, probably not. I just made two because it's easier that way. But if you see this one set to out, we can still put an ingot in there and it'll take it. So the stuff runs on yellorium ingots. If we come in here, you could see how much fuel we've got. If we hit activate, the thing's going to start working. It won't actually generate max power until the heat goes up, just like a boiler. But you can see we're already making 360 RF a tick, which is about 36 MJ, give or take. Which this will basically run a quarry. If you're tesseracting, obviously you lose 25% of the power. But you see the energy buffer filling up. And I actually did this yesterday. I need to clear out another couple of blocks right here and get some redstone. What you can do is, let me get the redstone and I'll show you how I set this up. When the buffer fills, it doesn't stop using fuel. I think it uses it at a lower rate, but it still uses it. And this is going to be kind of cramped in here for now. I also added a couple more refineries just because I wanted to get that done faster. So we've got the redstone port. If we look at the interface, we have a bunch of options. I want to set this one to set the reactor status from signal, and I want to set this one to a percentage. So it's kind of like the level emitter. You pick an energy percentage. We're going to say active while below, and then commit. So you can see this turns on. Basically, this block right now will control the reactor, but we can still do it manually from here. So this is on. This is going to go up. It's going to take a while. Let's move this to 10% just to demonstrate. Hopefully I can do it quickly enough. All right, we've got 9.4% right now. As soon as the buffer hits 10%, we'll lose the redstone signal. The thing will turn off. See? Redstone signal gone. It should have turned the thing off. I don't know why it didn't. Ooh, I hate it when this happens in an episode. This always happens to me. Oh, I didn't commit it. That's what it is. Commit. Okay, my bad. Now we can see the block changed. The face of it changed. You see how it's, red or whatever. When we activated, it's green. So if we change this thing, let's move it up to 11. We'll see what happens. It's already above that. Anyway, you get the idea, I'm sure. All right, now we've got a signal. When we reach 14%, this time it will actually turn off. I just, I forgot to set. You have to hit commit to set the rule. So you can do this at, now we're off again. You can do it at any percentage. You can also set it to your fuel amounts, what kind of waste. I mean, you can set some patterns or set some variables rather. This thing actually outputs, I don't know if we have any yet. We don't. It outputs cyanite, and I don't know if it outputs into the ingot form or it's probably the ingot form. I'm not really sure. I haven't gotten that far. But you can actually use the cyanite reprocessor, this block, and you can reprocess it. I think it turns back into plutonium. And then you can actually feed that back into your reactor. But you obviously have to re-refine it, and you don't get as much out of it. But it is cool that you can reuse it. So I'm going to go ahead and let this thing fill up all the way. I'm going to set it on probably 95%. As we can see, it has quite a buffer. I have trouble counting zeros on my computer screen without getting right up on it. It looks like 10 million to me. Either way, it's more than a million RF, which is a lot of energy. So I don't have any conduit on me. We can very easily hook this thing into the system if I have enough of it. I probably ought to make a few more anyway. But we just run it and bring it over like that. We could put an energy cell right here or whatever is a buffer if we wanted to. But that is an additional power source. And like I said, I don't think they blow up yet. I think it's planned. You see our heat, we're only at 235 degrees. The more, what are those things called? The fuel rods. The more fuel rods you have, and by fuel rod, I mean the column of 3. The more fuel rods you have, the higher your heat will get. And I want to say that when I made the 6 fuel rod thing last night, it was probably up around in the 400s. So I think there's a limit to how big you can make this thing, and it's probably actually the heat limit. So like I said, we're going to make a bigger one of these in the future, probably way underground, even though they look really cool and there's no risk of blowing up right now. I still feel like the reactor goes underground. I think that they should make you pump water in, and I don't know what's planned for it, but you know, most reactors, they make steam power from what I understand. So I think that if the water evaporated and you had to vent the steam and pump water in, it might balance it a little more. But it's in the pack. We're going to use it. Basically, all we have to do is make sure that we have plenty of this stuff. And I ran a quarry, I don't know, a couple of days ago, and I ended up with over 1,000 of them. So I don't think it's going to be a problem. The ore gen rate is fairly high. So I may actually just let this thing run out since I have this as a backup, and then I'll just reset all this stuff up. Probably move this thing downstairs for the charcoal. I'm going to have to export all the existing charcoal out of the system and put it all in the deep storage unit. But we can figure that out a little later. I also need to turn this off right now because I don't think we're going to need more than this much graphite for a while. So if I do anything with the cyanite reprocessor, I'll show you guys in another video. I'm not going to set that up right now because this thing is not going to run that much. We're still gaining power in the buffer. So it'll probably be until this thing shuts down that this actually needs to output anything. So that'll do it for this episode. I just wanted to play around with that. I totally forgot that it was added in the update, and I saw a spotlight on it a while back. I think High Yorkie is actually the spotlight I watched, and it looked really cool, really easy. Maybe a little OP, but you know, whatever. It's a new toy to play with. So that's going to do it for this episode. If you guys have any questions, comments, etc., please leave them down below. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.